so selfish and greedy and sometimes truly evil. At such times, I feel there can be no underlying meaning to the emergence of life on Earth. And if there is no meaning, doesn't this suggest, as a bitter New York skinhead once put it, that the human species is simply an evolutionary goof? Still, for me, those periods of doubt have been relatively rare, triggered by a variety of circumstances, such as when my second husband died of cancer, when the ethnic hatred erupted in the little country of Burundi, and I heard terrible tales of torture and mass killings that reminded me of the unspeakable evils of the Holocaust, when 4 of my students studying in Gombe National Park in Tanzania were kidnapped and held for ransom. How, I asked myself on such occasions, how can I be expected to believe in some divine plan in the face of so much suffering, so much hatred, so much destruction? Yet somehow I overcame those periods of doubt. Most of the time I'm optimistic about the future. There are, however, many people today who have lost whatever faith and hope they had, whether in God or human destiny. Since 1986, I've been traveling almost constantly. I do this to raise funds for the various conservation and educational projects of the Jane Goodall Institute, and to share with as many people as possible a message that I feel is desperately important, a message that concerns the nature of human beings and our relationship to the other animals with whom we share the planet, and a message of hope, hope for the future of life on Earth. People are always asking where I find my energy. They also comment on how peaceful I seem. How can I be so peaceful, they ask. Do I meditate? Am I religious? Do I pray? Most of all, they ask how I can be so optimistic in the face of so much environmental destruction and human suffering, in the face of overpopulation and overconsumption, pollution, deforestation, desertification, poverty, famine, cruelty, hatred, greed, violence, and war. Does she really believe what she says, they seem to be wondering? What does she really think deep down? What is her philosophy of life? What is the secret ingredient for her optimism, her hope? The only reason I agreed to write this book is because of these questions, because maybe the answers will be helpful. It has required a lot of soul-searching, reawakened periods of my life that I prefer not to think about, caused pain. But I have tried to write my story honestly, else why write the book at all? If you, the listener, find some aspect of my own personal philosophy and faith that is at all useful or enlightening to you as you travel your own unique path, then my labor will not have been in vain. This is a story about a journey, the journey of one human being through 65 years of Earth time, my journey. Traditionally, a story begins at the beginning. But what is the beginning? Is it the moment when I was born, with all the charming ugliness of the newborn human baby, in a hospital in London? The first breath I drew so that I could yell about the pain and indignity of my forced expulsion from the womb? Or should we start earlier, in the dark, moist, secret place, where one little wiggling sperm, one out of millions, managed to burrow into one little ovum, the fertilized egg that was biologically, magically transformed into a baby? But that is not really the beginning, for the genes that were handed down to me by my parents were created long, long ago, and my inherited traits were molded by the people and the events surrounding my early years, the characters and position of my parents, the country into which I was born, and the era in which I grew up. So, should the story start with my parents, with the historical and social events that shaped Europe in the 1930s, that molded Hitler and Churchill and Stalin? Or perhaps we should go back to the first truly human creature that was born of ape-men parentage, or back to the first little warm-blooded mammal? Or should we go back and back through the mists of unknown time to when the first speck of life appeared on planet Earth, as a result of some divine purpose or cosmic accident. From there we could start my story, tracing the strange paths that life has taken, from amoeba through apes, to minds that can contemplate the existence of a God and strive to understand the meaning of life on Earth and beyond the stars. I do not want to discuss evolution in such depth, however, only touch on it from my own perspective, from the moment when I stood on the Serengeti plains in Africa, holding the fossilized bones of ancient creatures in my hands, to the moment when, staring into the eyes of a chimpanzee, I saw a thinking, reasoning personality looking back. You may not believe in evolution, and that's all right. How we humans came to be the way we are is far less important than how we should act now